as well. So just to introduce myself to any newcomers that don't know me but haven't met me before, my name is Stacey Hughes. I am a chaos addict, shark-loving ocean swimmer, marathon runner, and Meta Ads wrangler. And some days I find swimming with sharks a lot easier than having to deal with Meta, especially when people get their accounts shut down or, they lose access to their accounts. That can be very frustrating. So my goal here for today is for you to understand Meta and use it to your advantage for your business. So let me know in the chat. It's intro time, so let me know what is your business and where you're zooming from. I saw some people there might be driving or walking, and you might not be able to drop it in the chat, but if you can, let me know where you're coming in from. Also, I just want to know, are you running ads at the moment? So just let me know in the chat, are you running ads? No, you're not. Or you want to outsource your ads, or you are outsourcing your ads right now, but you want to learn more about how it all works. Sally is broken down, waiting for roadside assistance. Oh my God, Sally, that sounds dreadful. I hope they come to you soon. I had a flat tire last week, and yes, I had to wait for RACQ, and then I had to get 4 new tires. And it was also on the same day I got a $1,200 holding my mobile phone in my hand. So yeah, that was a bad day. So I have worked with hundreds of women, mainly women, online course creators. I have a membership now called Fab Ads Club, where I teach people about Facebook and Instagram ads. And prior to that, my husband and I had 5 dietitian practices. We had 17 dietitians at the height of our business, and we sold all of that at the end of 2021 and traveled around Australia in a caravan. I always loved Facebook ads. I've been using Facebook ads since 2015, and I believe it was an integral part of growing our business in those locations. We used to run a weight loss challenge, and we used Kajabi for that, and we would do a 30-day challenge, and we used ads to really grow that business and get that extra revenue for our dietitian practice. My husband now has a podcast, How to Build a Profitable Nutrition Business, and I've been a guest on his podcast to talk about Facebook ads. But one thing that we always acknowledge, and we have talked about on the podcast too, is what was our biggest learning from having that business. And our number one learning was growing our list. That was really critical for the success of our business, is having that list, that database of people that we could email and nurture and tell people about our services. And much like today, that's so important for us as well as online entrepreneurs. We need to have that database. We've got to get people out of social media and onto our database where we can not control them, but we have control of the conversation. We can email them and nurture them and get them to know about our offers. So drop me an emoji face with how you feel about ads. If you can get to your emojis, otherwise give me an X if you love ads, an exclamation if you hate ads. I probably should have had those around the other way. And you neither love nor hate, but you want to learn more. And I know I often get a mixed bag here about how people actually feel about ads. So when I'm talking about Facebook and Instagram, and I might say Meta. So Meta is the platform, and that relates to both Facebook and Instagram. And that's where we would be running ads on. I know it's confusing. There's constant change. We get thrown all these terms at us all the time. Meta has this obsession with the plus button, and it can be totally overwhelming. I totally get that. And sometimes we just feel like this, make it stop. But I want to be able to show you the changes and how we can use that to our advantage. Today, I'm going to go through Meta's new features, especially around our audiences. I'm going to explain about campaigns to grow our list fast, and I'm going to show you some ways that we can create meaningful reports when we start running those ads. Now, just to change tact a little bit, has anyone here ever run a marathon before? I often get Hi, Joe. I often get someone here, or is anyone even thinking about running a marathon or training for one at the moment? Well, much like business, if I started training for a marathon last year, much like business, if I'd known how hard it was, I wouldn't have started. And it was the Yeppoon Marathon last year, and I got to the 37-kilometer mark, and I realized that I wasn't going to make cutoff. So cutoff was 5 hours 45, and I wasn't tracking to make that cutoff. I still had 5.295 kilometers to go, and I wasn't at the current pace I was running. I wasn't going to get there in time. So I had three choices at that point. So if I continued on that way, I would have got a DNF, which it stands for did not finish. So I had three choices at that time. I could stop. It was hot. I'd had enough, to be honest, and I'd run a long way already, the longest I'd ever run. And so I thought I could just stop. I'm going to get a DNF anyway, so I may as well stop now. I could keep going at that current pace. I would have got to the finish. Everybody would have shut down and had potentially gone home, or I thought I could do something new. And running a business, training for that marathon and running a business, I just discovered that they are just so similar. Running a business is very similar to training for a marathon. And as small business owners, we wear so many hats. We're the CEO, customer service, accounts, admin. It can be so hard, but also we have to be marketing geniuses. And we aren't in the business of selling things. We are actually in the business of marketing our business. And you've probably heard this, the loudest voice wins. And that's what we have to think about with our businesses, that we are in the business of marketing ourselves and our services. So social media is so powerful. We've got access to this free platform, but who here has a degree in social media? It'd be useless anyway, because just when you think you have it all worked out, everything changes. So social media is so powerful. We have access to this free platform to connect with our audience, but who here knows how to use it? What's the difference between a story, a reel, a carousel? So the story is a 20-second video or image that disappears after 24 hours. And these are all formats that you can use with your ads. The reel is our video up to 90 seconds. And the carousel is a collection of videos and images that we can use to tell a story. So it's so powerful, but it can be so frustrating. And you might have done this. You spent so much time creating this reel or this video, and you post it up on Facebook and Instagram, and then you get this message that says, do you want to boost me? So Meta gives you this little notification that says, if you boost this post and spend this X amount of money, you're going to reach X amount of people. So you're thinking, should I do this? Is this advertising? Should I advertise this post? And so you think, yes, let's do it. I'm running ads. And you boost, but boosting and strategic ad marketing campaigns are very different things. So what happens is that you see it reached X amount of people, but did you get any leads? Did it make any sales? These are the metrics that matter. So you don't know if it worked or not. And you think you may have wasted money, you aren't seeing any results. But we're wearing so many hats, and we need more eyeballs and more people to buy our stuff. So we need a bigger audience. So what is the solution here? The solution is strategic ad campaigns. So there's a place for boosting, but I just want you to be aware of exactly what you're doing when you're boosting and what the difference is between boosting and strategic ad campaigns. So when it comes to campaigns, Meta is literal. So if you want leads, you need to choose the lead objective. So when it comes to setting up the campaigns, these are the objectives you can choose. So there's awareness, traffic, and engagement. Now, when you're boosting a post, that is, you're doing an engagement ad. And what happens is Meta will optimize for whatever you've told it to get engagement on. And that might be link clicks, video views, or landing page views. So what you're saying to Meta is, here's my ad, go and find me people that are most likely going to engage with my content. So they call that link clicks. Or if it's a video, go and watch my video. Or if I've got sending people to a website, that's called landing page views. So Meta goes and finds people that are going to do those activities. So that's fine if that's your strategy, but you just have to be aware that is what is going to happen when you set up those campaigns. So this is a campaign that Sharon Colin is running. She's an ADHD coach. She's actually been running this ad since 2021 and still continues to run it to this day. This particular post is just something she posted on Facebook, and it links to a blog, and she's had 60,000 engagements at this point. 1,200 people commented on this particular post, 2,500 shares, and she's been spending $5 a day on this particular ad. So the shares metrics, these are things that matter as well. Now, if we want to run leads, we need to select the lead objective. So Meta will then go and find people most likely to become a lead. So there's two types of lead campaigns we can run. There's a lead form, and that's a form on Instagram or Facebook, or we can send people to our website to fill out a form, and they become a lead, give us their name and email, and then we deliver something of value to them. Now, the last type of campaign objective we can select is the sales objective. And this is what we would want to do if we want people to purchase something. So if we're running live events and doing ticket sales, if we're doing a low-cost offer, if we're doing sales for our courses and memberships in a launch period, we would want to use the sales campaign, because Meta's going to, again, find people more likely to make a purchase. So then we set up the Meta Ads campaign, and I just wanted to go through the setup and what some of these words and terminology mean, because I know when you get in there, it can be somewhat confusing. So at the top level, we select our campaign, and this is where we select our objective. So if we're doing leads, we do that. And then the next level is what we call ad set. And this is where we set who we're going to be targeting with our ads. So this is where we set the audiences, and then underneath that we have our ads. So this is our messaging and our media. So what Meta calls media, which is the ad format. So this could be our image, our video, or our carousel. And then that has the ad copy as well. We also set a budget and a duration of how long our campaign is. So that's the sort of general framework, when it comes to setting up an ad. So I like to think about that as a filing cabinet, that the campaign is the filing cabinet, the ad sets are the drawers, and inside the drawers are the ads or the files. And this is how it looks like in your ads manager. The top level here, we have our campaign. Then underneath, we have our ad set, who we're targeting. And then underneath that, we have our different ads. So once you create ads, you can duplicate it and create the other formats there as well. So Pixel, who here has their Pixel installed? Or who here just doesn't even know what a pixel is and if they even need it? So let me know in the chat. It's just tracking code. It's a piece of code that you get from Meta, and you go and put it on your website, and it then tracks everyone and every activity that happens on your website. And even it tracks people that didn't even come from ads. If they came from any other traffic sources, they're being tracked as well. And that information is being fed back to Meta. So if you don't have your Pixel installed, I offer free Pixel installations, and Abby's going to drop in my Calendly link if you want to get access to that. There's lots of different ways you can set up the Pixel on different platforms. So sometimes it's just easier for me to jump on Zoom, take control of your computer, and set that up for you. Because it's different setups for WordPress, Kajabi, Squarespace, Wix, Go High Level. They all have different ways to set up. So let's talk about the strategy behind the different ad campaigns. So the ultimate goal is, like I mentioned at the start, we want to move people out of social media and move them to our database. So we want to move them from likes to leads. So I have a Fab Ads formula. We have lead campaigns to grow your list. We do podcast ads to grow your podcast subscribers, which again is just growing your list. We have credibility ads to collect host testimonials and social proof, and then sales campaigns to get those purchases of low-cost offers of yours or sales of your course and membership. So inside of Fab Ads Club, we have a list build and launch accelerator, which has step-by-step training videos on how to set all of those ad campaigns up. So lead ads allow you to capture your potential students at a fraction of a cost, build that warm audience eager to learn from you, and then you can nurture them through strategic email marketing. So that's the goal, get them out of social media and get them onto your database. So the different type of lead campaigns we can run, we have our lead campaigns to your website where they fill out a form on your website and then you deliver them your lead magnet or your freebie. So you can do that with a lead form as well. A lead form is the form that's on Facebook and Instagram, and it keeps people on the platform. You can use this type of campaign if you don't have a website. Those leads are trackable, so you know that those leads came from ads, and you can create that instant connection using Zapier or SMS, and then you can start emailing them as well. So yeah, we can send people to the Kajabi form and then deliver your lead magnet. So that's an example of one there that I have set up for Leonie Dawson. And this gives value to your ideal client. You can work on reducing your cost per lead by changing out the creative, and you can experiment with different types of lead magnets to see what your ideal client responds to. And I've seen lots of clients do this really well. Maybe they have a free book, a webinar or a training, or some type of checklist or downloadable. So you can experiment with different types of lead magnet and then see what the cost per lead is for each of those. So inside Fab Ads Club, I do every second month, I do a 3-day live training where we go through day 1, setting up, day 2, creating those lead campaigns, and then day 3, creating those reports after you've started running those lead campaigns. So there's another type of campaign you can run is the sales campaign. So if you do have low cost offers that you want to grow your list with, this is a great one to set up. It can still grow your list. It doesn't grow it as fast as the freebies, but it is still a strategy that you could do. And the goal at the end of the day with this one is to at least pay for your ads. So you can make it self-liquidating, and then this type of campaign can become profitable as well. So this could be for your low cost offers, like your $7 offer, $47, that type of thing. So the benefit, it can pay for your ads, the cost commitment from your ideal client, and it's a small tribe before they buy your offer. Now, credibility ads, this is where we use existing posts for social proof, testimonials, and we send that link to existing customers to comment on your post. So we create an existing post, we get that link of that post, and then we send it to people and we ask them to comment on that post. And then we turn that post into an ad. So this is an example of that. Taryn is a sports dietitian and she has this nutrition academy. So we created this post about her triathlon nutrition academy, and then she sent this link of this post to all alumni or people that have completed her academy and got them to post. And this was a while ago now. It's actually way bigger than this now. And there's huge novels about, 5-star recommendation, and all telling the stories of what they were like before they did her academy and then the results that they got after doing her academy. So it is one of her best performing ads now, because what happens is it gets shown to people, and then like new people, cold people that have never heard of her, and they see all these comments. And of course, we all just click on that and see what people are saying, and then we read all this, go down a bit of a rabbit hole and see all what other people are saying about that particular offer. So it's a really effective strategy there. You've got that social proof, that you're the professional, the thought leader. It's a place to capture your testimonials. It could become one of your highest converting ads for your offer. and ideal clients engage with your posts and also get retargeted with any other campaigns that you're running. Now, the podcast ads, this is what you can do if you have a podcast, but I've also seen people use this for YouTube if they've got a YouTube channel that they're trying to grow. So you can grow your list with highly converting podcast listeners by asking them to subscribe to your podcast via a lead form. So we're doing that form on Facebook or Instagram, and we're getting people to subscribe to your podcast. So you put the tile of your podcast on there. And this is great when your podcast is really clear who your podcast is targeting. And then you get the name and email. And then on the last page of the form, you say, listen to the latest episode here. And, Emma's getting $1.10 cost per lead. I think it's actually even less than this now. We've been running this one for quite a while, but it's a great one. It's growing her list. Every time she launches, the people that join have the tag podcast ad subscribers. So she knows that they came in originally through this ad. So really cost-effective way to grow her list. Here's another one, Leonie's podcast. Again, we're getting their name and email and asking on the last page to subscribe to your latest episode. So you're building your list with those highly converting podcast listeners. They're tagged in your database as a podcast subscriber. You can increase your rankings on Apple Podcasts and Spotify by in your email nurture sequence asking people to go and review you on those other platforms. But you also can use email to say, these are your top 3 most listened to episodes, things like that. But they're on your list so that you can start emailing. And there's specific wording in the form that I use to make it very clear that they're joining your list as a podcast subscriber, that they're joining your database list. So in the Fab Ads playbook that is inside Fab Ads Club, it's a bit technical, this podcast one, to set up, because you have to use Zapier to zap the names and emails into your database, whatever database that might be. So I have step-by-step screenshots on how you set all of that up. So when it comes to Meta and these campaigns, there's lots of things that we can't control when running our ad campaign. But what we can control is what I call our MO. So our audience, our messaging, our media, and then optimizing as well. So, and then strategy is just having these strategic list building campaigns that we're running. So when it comes to the audience, Meta, this has changed so much in the last 6 months. So there is what is now the default called Advantage Plus Audience. So this is Meta's AI technology for finding our audience. And how it works is that Meta shows people our ads, and then the people that respond to the ad, Meta goes and finds more people like that. So we give suggestions here of who we want Meta to target, but it then uses its AI technology to find more people like that. So I just wanted to explain about the difference, because there's 2 types of audiences you can now run. So there's the Advantage Plus, and then the other option is called the Original Audience. And that's how we used to do audience, and it does offer more control over precise targeting. So if you do your ads to a specific geographic location, you would want to do Original Audience over Advantage Plus, because what happens is Meta can show your ads outside of that location, and then if people respond to your ad, then it goes and shows more people like that. So if you're a dance studio or a gym or a retail store and you can't service those people, then you don't want that to happen. So you would have to use Original Audience. So if it's specific targeting, that's how you do Original Audience there. So Advantage Plus, it provides a broader reach and utilizes Meta AI technology. And this is only going to get better. So that is the constraint right now, but that will definitely change. So just be aware of that. That's why I always say about the difference, but things change all the time. So it allows you to set location as an audience control at Advantage Plus. And this is recommended for campaigns for sales and purchases and leads as well. So then we have the original audience. It allows just for tighter constraints. So if you have that, then this would be the one to use. But just know the difference. And if you want to test them out, you can do a new ad set. If you're running one and not the other, you can test the other one out, turn the other one off so there's no audience overlap, and then run it and then see what your results are. So how we select audiences has changed. There's massive AI audience changes. And last year I went to Meta's HQ in Sydney. And what I learned from Meta is the most important thing now is your ad creative and your ad copy. So you no longer need to focus on your audiences and drill down to exactly who Meta should target, because Meta is going to take signals from your ad copy and your ad creative and find people that it thinks will engage with your ads, so will become leads, or will make purchases from your ads. So the formats to try is, or the formats to use is the image, video reels, carousels with images, and carousels with videos as well. So more about focusing your attention on the ad creative and less on being really specific in your audiences. So what we say in our ads is the most important thing, and how we do that is via our ad copy, the image, and the video. So we want to call out our ideal client and talk to them that way. So that brings us to messaging. So Meta's AI-powered algorithm. We know this in our feed that social media has now become more interest-based. And you might know this in your feed as well, that you're getting a lot of content in your feed that is recommended to you. Like you might look at it and go, I don't follow this person. But there's this real shift now. Meta's taken this from TikTok to this interest-based content. So Meta's algorithm now prioritizes content based on users' interest rather than the connections. So you don't need to focus so much on your followers. So that gives us a lot of opportunity here as content creators to get that organic reach. So as I said, 50% of all our feed content is suggested. And so now we can just reach more people. And you might see this in your Instagram result analytics, that you have this percent now of people seeing your content that are non-followers. So it's great for visual storytelling, using Instagram to showcase your business through your photos, videos, and reels. And the opportunity here is that we can then turn that content into existing posts and reels as our ads. So we're not wasting our time and energy on that content. We can put some money behind it and show new people that content as an ad. So we have so much choice for AI tools now. Let me know in the chat what AI tools you are using. I know always a lot of people say ChatGPT. I use Perplexity AI. It uses ChatGPT and it also uses other sources as well. But I've had to play around lately with this tool called Meta's tool, Meta.ai, and you can use it for ad copy and ad creative as well. So if you haven't looked at that one, it's worth having a look at. But what I use the AI tool for is not just creating the ad copy, but making sure it's Meta compliant. So there's been a lot of changes in the financial and health space. And when it comes to ad copy, you want to make sure that you are compliant. So I have a prompt for you to use. This is one that I use for ad copy, and it gives you 5 versions of Meta compliant ad copy, making sure there's no price claims, no personal attributes, and no misleading claims or false urgency. So we've got, oh no, not that link. We've got the Google Doc which has the prompt on it. So Abby's just going to send through the Google Doc. And on that Google Doc, we have the prompt will be on there as well. So the Google Doc is something that I like to map out my campaigns before I even get started with them in the ads manager. I set them up first on my Google Doc, get my ad copy, and then I copy it across to into the ads manager. So I'll just open that one up there so you can see it. And you can just make a copy of this for yourself. And if you want to try out Perplexity, there's a code there. I think we both get $10 off, but there is a free version that you can use. And it's much like ChatGPT, you get so many free things per day. And then you can use that prompt and it sets it out in a table, which I really like as well. So let me get back to that. And this is an example of what it looks like. So the primary text, the headline, and the description. Now, in the Meta platform, you can do 5 versions of each of these things. So I would recommend doing that because we do have these tools at our disposal. So it is just easy to do 5 versions and then make sure it sounds like you. So yeah, I do recommend doing the 5 versions. Now, media. So I always get asked this, which format is the best? Should I just be running video ads? Is carousels the best? Which is the best? Video, image, carousel? And the answer is you actually have to test them all. There's no way of knowing. I've seen varied response from heaps of different clients on this. And sometimes people watch a video, but then they take action on the image or the carousel. So yeah, there's really no clear winner always. So it is better to run different formats. So Deb Szabo here has run 4 different ads for her campaign. She did a 60-second strategic sales video. She did a 7-second B-roll reel, a carousel, and a single image. And the clear winner in these ones was that 60-second strategic sales video. So, but yeah, we didn't know that. We had to run them all. And it just gives Meta something to work with and show people your ads. So testing is the critical part here. And if you are stuck for ideas, then go to the Facebook ads library. You can look up every single person in the world who is running ads, currently running ads. You'll see their ads. So you can look up competitors, you can look up keywords, and you can look up people with big ads budgets and check out what types of ads that they are running. So I find that one really handy to use for ideas. So we know with marketing, we need those multiple touch points to motivate people to buy. We need to be reminded multiple times, and having those different formats will do that as well. So how else do we also do this? We footbod them. So we follow up until they buy or die. And we do this with retargeting ads. So how do we do this? We have to have the pixel installed. And how this works is that code on your website, the code tracks people, and that information is sent back to Facebook. So if you are boosting and you have no pixel, you're not tracking people and what they're doing on your website. Therefore, you can't retarget to them. So you can't footbod them. So have you ever thought Facebook is reading your mind? They probably are, because of the pixels. So they know it, Meta knows so much about us because of all those data points that they have on us. And that's because we're being tracked by the pixel on the websites. So now that we're running our ad campaigns, a way that we can optimize is just knowing what all of these metrics mean and how we can change them if we need to. So when I'm running ad campaigns, I set up these customized columns, and I always want to know the cost per results. That's the primary metric, and that's based on how I set up the campaign. So if it's a leads campaign, the cost per result is going to be the cost per lead. So if it was a sales, it would be a cost per sale. So other metrics or secondary metrics that you can look at to determine if your ads are working is your click-through rate, and then your landing page views, how many people went to your website, and then the frequency is how many people actually saw your ads. So the metrics to watch is, the cost per result. And once you get that lead cost, working on getting that down. And then landing page views, if you are running a lead ad to a website, you want to, if there's high landing page views, higher than the leads, then there may be a problem on your landing page. So I had a client the other day She was had been running ads herself since November, and the link was wrong in her lead ads. It was going to her homepage instead of the checklist page where people could download the checklist. But at the bottom, so we had a really high number of people going on her website and a really small number of people becoming leads. So what was happening, they were going to her homepage, and then at the bottom, the very bottom of her homepage, she did have the checklist form. So anyone that sort of delved deeper and wanted that checklist, they became leads. But there was a huge proportion, 50% of people that just bounced from there. So yeah, I haven't touched base with her to find out what her new cost per lead is, but that's going to make a huge difference fixing up that link. But also having the form in the top fold is also really makes a difference as well. So with the click-through rate, if it's less than 1%, we want to look at the audience. And if our frequency is greater than 3, then this is a sign to change our graphics. So we set this up in these columns here in our ads manager. So it's called customized columns. So then we're able to add those columns in. So we add in the click-through rate, landing page views, and the frequency. Now, this is another metric that I've introduced. It's a customized metric that you can set up, and it's called the watch time quality. So if you are running a lot of video ads, you can see how long what percentage of people that watched for 15 seconds then went on to watch 95% of your video. So if you get a watch time quality of 50% or greater, then that means that people are watching your video. So it's a custom metric that you set up, and it's a percentage. So we do video plays at 95% divided by through plays. So here's an example of it set up here for a client, and shorter videos are going to get a higher watch time quality, a higher percent. So you want to look at videos that are similar in length to determine the watch time quality. So yeah, 40 to 50% is pretty good, and higher than that is great as well. So I want to offer everyone who has shown up live, I'm going to offer a personalized ad strategy action plan. So I have an AI tool, an AI agent that I've created or have had created for me, where I can create you a personalized ad strategy plan based on your website and the things that you offer. So if you would like me to do that for you, just drop Abby's going to drop the link. That was that strategy link. If you put your name and email and website and Instagram handle into that form, I will create a personalized ad strategy plan and email that to you after this presentation. So right now, Fab Ads Club is available for $67 a month, and that's $97 AUD. Every month we have 2 Zoom momentum calls. So one call is a monthly masterclass where we go through one of those strategic lead campaigns live. And then a couple of weeks later, about 2 weeks later, we have the second momentum call, and that is called Performance Power Ups. And people come along with your results and give advice on how to get better performance with your ads. So you also have access to the step-by-step training modules to set all of those campaigns up, and the playbook as well, the step-by-step screenshots on how to set up all of those campaigns. And right now, until Sunday, I have a special offer where you can get lifetime access to Fab Ads Club. So it's just a one-off payment, and this is great if you don't like that monthly commitment, and you get 4 hours ads done with you on Zoom. So that's $1,167. And the 4 hours is I set up 4 campaigns for you, and I do that for you on Zoom. So we work it out, the strategy. I can help you with the ad copy and the ad creative. And then I jump on Zoom and take control of your computer and set those campaigns up for you. So it's up to 4 hours worth. It's not all done in the same time. It can be spread out over a number of Zooms. And it's great for people who are launching and you want those 4 campaigns set up. So if you want a webinar campaign, a freebie campaign running all the time, maybe your podcast one, and a webinar one that you're running in launch time, or a sales retargeting ad in your launch time as well, I can set any of those up for you over Zoom. So back to my marathon, I had 3 choices here. I had to stop. I could stop. I could keep going at my current pace, or I could do something new. And so I'm at that 37-kilometer mark. And what do? I decide to try something new. Getting a DNF was not an option. So I turn on a new playlist and I actually run faster than I have all day. And I finished the race in 5 hours, 38. And this is me finishing. I've got all my family behind me, and this is all my run club as well. And I finished in last place, but I won 10 free coffees from my local coffee shop, which I thought was pretty amazing. I was pretty happy with that price. So Meta ads are a marathon. How are you going to finish the race? So any questions? If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or feel free to unmute.